What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 25 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Thorgrim Grudgebearer Old World campaign. So as we saw last time, we got, well, a bunch of other battles, go figure, but most importantly, we're able to debut the torpedo army, which was pretty darn entertaining. The torpedoes obliterated the two Tomb King stacks that attacked us at a long range, long before any of them were able to close the distance, especially with these guys' range being over 300 and whatever once they entrench, which is pretty darn solid. Excited to see them at least get in a couple more battles here, and I'm sure the orcs will be next on the menu, as the exiles of Neheep under Katep are pretty much done for. In terms of what we got to do this turn, I do believe we're about halfway through it, so there's probably at least a few more that we need to move, so let's find them. Rearguard, Thorek, who was next? Rickamberdrick, now you're still staying where you are. Malachi, yes, you certainly need to move. What do we have here at Yaren? Not really much, probably worth resolving. No, it's not going to let us. Really, this? Okay, we're just going to speed through this one because I don't think it's really worthy of our attention. What we will do, however, is level up before we do. Malachi, I believe you were going to go for Rune of Reloading, unless I'm mistaken. It'll give 25 reload skill to your entire army, a little bit of extra weapon damage. I like those better than your other rune possibilities. I don't dislike the charge bonus, unstoppable charge thing, but he's a little bit too ranged heavy and not as Slayer heavy, and thus the reloading rune is just going to be superior. We still want Rune of Obstinacy to power up the entirety of the army, and what are you missing? You have Tradition and Innovation for your choppers, you have your Grimnir's Heirs, you don't really use artillery, but you have the goblin heroes, which we could still power up with tactician. Alright, fine, let's go through tactician. Alrighty, it's not like you're insanely point hungry. You guys are saving your points. Well, actually, you don't really need to save your points, do you? Because you only need the 3 to buff up the regular gyrocopters, but nothing else, because I believe you can't buff goblin hewers or... yeah, the engineers can buff goblin heroes or thunder barges, meaning we'll just get points and we are the elite, and then leave 1 point for when we hit 20 specifically for the gyrocopters. Same thing kinda with you. You can grab we are the elite, and I guess we'll get requisition as well. We still got a fair few points before we max ourselves out here anyway. And then lastly, the runesmith. What are you got? What are you got? Let's get you we are the elite. We have Forge Fire, Rune of Hearth and Home. Might as well start going through Runic Imbuement and then later towards Strike the Runes as well. Out of these, I'm guessing the spell resistance for the entire army will help both in occasional battles and occasional auto-resolves. Down to 1 being killed now. Wait, I'm just gonna double check whether giving somebody the banner will change anything, but it doesn't look like it will. Alright, screw it. We're just going to fight this manually real quick. Quick save in case it crashes. And yeah, we'll just speed through this and just have our gyrocopters obliterate the entire enemy army, because this is definitely something that is not worthy of our attention. I mean, there are a decent bit of anti-air, but I don't think that they will be able to really harm our gyrocopters. They're pretty buffed up at this point, even without them being maxed out. They're pretty darn strong. And this probably will, funnily enough, be one of the last battles of the gyrocopters with the brimstone guns in this army. They're very good, but they're about to be replaced by 2 thunder barges, which are currently being constructed by a nearby lord. So I might as well have them fight something. Maybe we can transfer them to another army, since they're at a high tier now, and it feels like a waste to make them not do anything. Anyway, start battle. Let's max out the speed. And okay, I see a tower here, so we will destroy the tower real quick with everybody. Like so. Tower is gone. Then we just gotta fly around looking for enemy range units. Kill all the range units, and as soon as the range units are gone, the enemy army will be done for. Alright, I see a range unit right there. Everybody focus it down. Keep moving. Volley and then move, volley and then move, and then I see more range units up here. Like so, and yes, this is kind of silly, but it is what it is. Hey, found most of the enemy range units, and kill them all. Spirit of Grungni on the map, please. Alright, damage is pretty non-existent so far. We didn't even really need to deploy the rest of our army. And this is why I was saying that this should very much have been auto-resolvable. Okay, a couple more range units and the battle will be ours. Because then none of the enemy will be able to do anything whatsoever about all of the flyers. Might as well hunt down the enemy lord as well. Hey, Spirit of Grugbearer, you're not attacking anybody? Wait, let me see here. I should probably tell you to attack something. Go here. And I'll get the Azufar 42 pounders up and running. Let's make you group 1, maybe. Alright, kill that enemy lord, and lord is done for or otherwise disappeared. A couple more enemies. Spirit of Grugbearer moving around. Could probably send in the rest of our army, but I don't really see the need because the enemy stands no chance here. Air Force heavy armies have always been kind of silly against enemies that don't have any significant way of countering said Air Force, and this is definitely one of those cases. But I mean, this is Malachai's army. He's supposed to have a pretty significant Air Force, being based around the Spirit of Grugbearer and all that after all. So, it does feel lawfully appropriate and all that. Alrighty, and a couple more. Let's move out here. Frankly, I'm surprised that the enemy army has not yet shattered, but it's only a matter of time. Probably should be refilling the ammunition of some of our units, though. Alright, you guys are done, by which I mean the trolls are done. Let's get brimstone guns ammoed up here, like so and like so. And let's activate ballistics calibration, speed the matter up a little bit. Alright, how about shattering their enemy army? There we go, and done. Okay. Come on, auto-resolve. What did you think was going to happen? Yeah, it's too bad that the auto-resolve really hates the Slayer Pirates, considering I really love the Slayer Pirates in terms of the, new units. And they're just so versatile and great. Giving a Slayer a pistol just changes it so much in terms of the utility of the particular unit. Interesting that the one gyrocopter with the banner is the one that's lower ranked than all the others. Pretty sure we built them all at the same time, didn't we? 99.9% sure we built them all at the same time, so kind of odd, but whatever. Not that it's going to make any kind of difference, mind you, because they'll all be maxed out rather shortly, I'd wager. Anyway, we'll occupy the place like so, and it won't crash. Beautiful. Alright, ally mission successful as well. Now, that was Malachi, who will... Man, where's Azag? You're mostly down here because I wanted you to hunt down Azag, but I still don't see him, huh? Well, that is what it is. Also, we had a Thane moving around down here, you, right? Oh, I already moved you this turn. Oh, go figure. I thought I would have forgotten. Good job, Pastor Ruinous. Anyway. That was Malachi. Rearguard Holdfast doesn't need to move. Dwinbar Ranulfson. You were going to take Rock Crush's last stand and should be auto-resolvable. Forgot to auto-resolve, or forgot to quick save, and we're okay. Another Wailing Banner. We kept getting Wailing Banners last episode, and I guess the Wailing Banner streak continues, echoing the Sun Standard of Chotek streak in the Nakai campaign, where we kept getting those Sun Standards. Interesting. Anyway, Dimzad Blackbeard doesn't need to move. Stochel Gundrickson. I could just probably knock these guys out with a quick little auto-resolve. That's just basic undead. Not like they're going to be any kind of threat. And do the same thing here. This guy's gonna move, then you'll kill them both. The real undead threat was these four whatever armies that attacked Kazran Grimbrow, and, well, they all failed to do so. Alright, oh, don't tell me. Okay, now we're okay. Sometimes our one army blocks the other army, and then we can't kill the rest of the enemies because, well, we can't reinforce, but anyway. Take the Oath Code. Always good to have. Another Ranger Standard, another Rampager Standard, Stone Mason, no blue item. How dare you, game. Anyway, you guys stay here for now, at least until the armies are complete. I'd rather have them move out once those guys are ready. I mean, sure, we could attack these guys and kill them, no problem. But the point is to get those new armies up and running. You are waiting to build a couple of Hellblaster volley guns, aren't you? I assume that while we can build a couple, it's probably more critical that we complete the Outriders and whatever army. 23. You can still build Hellblasters and you can still build Outriders, though they're more expensive with Reikland than they are with the other army. The other faction. Sigmarsheim, no. Golden Order. I'm just checking the costs real quick here, because I still want these for the slowdown armor. You can also build Hellblasters and Outriders, eh? I'll be able to next turn. Alright, well, we could just wait the turn and then still build them up. North Confederacy, you don't have access to either of those, and I guess Central Confederacy, they do, but we don't have the allegiance. Alright, fair enough. Just gonna ignore that then. Anyway, that was Stochel Gundrickson, was it not? Let's go back in order, such as it is. If I can find him in here. King Azrael has moved, Barak has moved, Morgus Death Dealer, Dimzad. Okay, I think I checked these guys, did I not? Yes, okay, that was you guys. Alright, Kazaran Grimbrow. Now, you need to knock out whichever of these armies you can still reach and destroy. I assume that this was one of the armies that attacked us. Let's find out. Yes, it was. Alright, so we'll obviously auto-resolve you and then go back, see if we can't get 2 armies, but if we can't, we'll be okay either way. I think we'll heal up to full, though. Alright, and enemy killed in battle. Ranger Standard Powder Maker. You can still reach this guy, but then you won't be able to reach back to Karak, whatever. And there is another army here, but I'm just going to assume that we'll be okay. Or at least I hope so. Unless there's a... We still haven't encountered Kemmler himself, so he's still got a full stack running around somewhere, and just don't know where it is. Still, a great job so far by Mr. Grimbrow here. I think he's definitely earned himself an army after all that work that he has done. And we'll give him a proper stack. Oh, I don't know why I went with the march stance. Anyway, let's see what else we've got. That was Kazaran. After Kazaran, we got, let's see if we can't find ourselves a nice fight. Rurik Whitebeard, no, you don't need to move. Oldest Hellhind, you're delivering the Quarrelers, so keep sort of moving. I mean, you can run across the mountains, or we could deliver those in a different manner, i.e. You can actually move a lot further like this. We could join forces with... You know what? Yeah, if we're going to do a delivery, we'll make it so that we use a delivery with combined armies rather than just the one. Alright, Belagar Ironhammer. You are headed to the Isle of Zul, which you can reach by the looks of it. Let's see what we got in terms of defenses. Probably... Isle of Goblins. Yeah, probably not worth our time. Yeah, I'm not even going to kill him. Alright, so... Oh, I forgot to quick save again. Alrighty, and we got a Ranger's Quiver. We do tend to get those, but that feels like an appropriate item to get for Belagar. And Stonemason and Ironclaw Mutinous Boys destroyed. Alright, don't bother collecting the income here. I don't know whether we'll keep Isle of Zul, although it is a key dwarf settlement. It completes the province here for our North Confederacy Southern Realm friends. I'll think about it. The fact that it's a key dwarf settlement would bother me, just giving it back to them. Alright, either way, don't collect the income here. I thought I said that and then I promptly didn't do it immediately. Alrighty, well, either way, that was Belagar. Anybody else before we end the turn? Ooh, yes, wait, we have a fight. We have a good fight. A real good fight. Ungrim, you have arrived at the Vale of Webs and the piles on piles of greenskins here, so we're certainly gonna fight those, and I guess we're gonna do so in the field. We got giants, we got boar boys, we got black orcs. Now this should be a proper fight for all of our slayers. Alright, exciting times. Runesmith, let's level everybody up before we head on in. Anything super critical here? We do want Rune of Wrath and Ruin and Rune of Oath and Steel maxed out, but is that more critical than starting? Well, let's get the... Actually, I like the spell resistance for the army. The Slayers have a bad tendency to get hit with a big ol' gaze of Mork or Vindictive Glare and then lose half their number. Blade Master for you, I guess. We should probably get a Grimnir's Charge for you. Pretty solid charge. Alright, and then Woundmaker, and then Worthy Challenge. That's for Snorri, and then let's take Garagrim, who's gotten Deadly Onslaught. He has Rune of Grimnir, which was pretty important. I guess we'll want to get either Deadly Blade. Funnily enough, we built him in such a way that he has way more melee defense and significant armor than melee attack. But hey, he's echoing Papa now, so that's maybe not such a bad thing. You know what, let's do Ancestral Grudge. We're about to fight the Greenskins, why not fight them with gusto, right? Or with gunsto. Let's get to you, sir. You have Vanquish Chaos, you have Rune of Grimnir. I mean, you're not getting Vanquish Chaos right now, because you're not vanquishing Chaos right now. What about these? Oh, right. You're just a random Dragon Slayer. You can make it hit harder. What do you have here? Azuli, Coordinated Carnage, making all the other heroes near you hit hard. Frankly, while giving his speed, I'm sure would be fine. Oh! Actually, all the other... Huh. Other than the Everguard with shields, all the other Slayers move quite quick, funnily enough. Let's actually get you Relentless. This gives you 46 speed, so you'd still be slower, eh? Granted, they don't have Strider, but it might warrant that we... I have to think about that. Might warrant giving him the Strider thing. Anyway, if we join the war against these guys, Black Spider, 4, that's not much. I was hoping to trade Brovska from them, and then trade it back to these guys, just so that they have complete territories, but I don't think it's gonna work. Let's just do it, I don't care. Alrighty, and this should be a real fun fight. Let's draw them out onto the battlefield, shall we? You're not gonna run. Close victory, medium casualties. We got 3 stacks, and pretty darn elite ones, against our Slayer army. Let's see how the Greenskins compare to the Skaven that we've had to contend with so far with Ungrim's army. Go. Alrighty, here we go. Big old pile of 7,000 odd orcs for us to go slayering through. Should be pretty fun. But of course they're coming in as reinforcements since we attacked this little guy, Hozcub Spear Thrower, outside the enemy settlements. So we're going to wait until the reinforcements arrive while father and son and go for a little bit more bonding time. It's an orc war boss here, and Ungrim and Garagrim will chase him down. Was looking around for him because he was hidden and apparently running away from the two, but well, that kind of feels appropriate, and it does make sense because he has no chance whatsoever. Has lost about 50% of his HP. I mean, Ungrim hits for 1.1k, and I don't imagine Garagrim is a slouch either. Oh, they both hit for around 1k. Good for them. Anyway, down goes the Orc War Boss. Easy, quick, and that took the time that we needed for the enemy reinforcements to arrive. As to how this is going to look like, we have our single unit of the Everguard out front. That is Ungrim's essentially a personal guard here, while we have about 8 units of Slayers, the regular Slayers, hidden in the tree line on both flanks. In the center, we have the Honor Seekers, or the Doom Seekers rather, including the Honor Seekers, there, and the 2 units of Giant Slayers behind them. The Giant Slayers are waiting for, well, giants, and they're going to go directly for them, while the units of Doom Seekers go for the enemy main line. Now, for now, we're just going to wait. We do have this one unit that can take a nice couple of missile hits without taking too much damage. We've got a gold shield on them, 140 armor, and 60% missile resistance. And since we tried and failed to catch those Spider Rider archers, we're just going to let them attempt to try to damage us with their arrows. With the shields up. Too bad these guys don't have shield wall. It's a little bit odd that the Everguard don't have it when other units do, though. I mean, I guess they count as hammers, so they would get the encourage buff rather than the shield wall buff, even with their shields. I just feel like they should just be manually given shield wall. But anyway, SFO, if you're listening. In the meantime, enemy is nearly out of ammunition on those arrows. They have done relatively little damage to our units here, about 500 HP in terms of losses. Tiny bit of damage to Garagrim and Ungrim, but everybody here has suffered less than 10% of HP to the full complement of arrows from 2 units of Spider Rider archers. And that's what I like to see. Anyway, that's clearly going to be ineffective. These guys are going to run out of ammo, and the AI will recognize this and just charge them into melee and allow the rest of the enemy army to move forward as well. The enemy has also moved 2 goblin big bosses forward, one for Ungrim and one for Garagrim, though I don't think 1-on-1 is going to do them any better than 2-on-1 did for the, or 1-on-2 for that Orc War Boss. Oh, looks like some Goblin Wolf Riders are going to join in and try to help the war bosses out, or big bosses out. One is dead, I believe, and the other one is running. Alright, enemy main stack now moving towards us, and I did want to make sure that we waited on this side of the map, or essentially in the center, because if we deployed here, close to the edge of the map, the enemy would have routed and then just had most of their units escape, which obviously we don't want, as otherwise we'd have to fight them again. Anyway, looks like some Mangler squigs have moved in. They are so entertaining to watch. I want an army that's all Mangler squigs and Nurglings. That's what I want, although I'm fairly sure my PC would explode, but they're, I think, the two most entertaining units to watch, of the smaller entities at least. And I think that would be pretty fun. Alrighty, well, either way, they're in the center, and our Doomseekers and our other units have arrived. Our other units are now engaging. Looks like Mr. Joseph Can Doom has found one of the enemy giants, and I do believe there is another giant out here, which Snorri knows better. He wants to kill trolls, but he can go for the giants as well, together with his giant slayer contingent. And, oh, well, they've got some trolls back in the giant up anyway, so that works out quite well for Mr. Snorri and his troll specialization. As soon as the giant goes down, he can bring those trolls down as well. And the giant is in pretty bad shape. The giant slayer is specialized for this sort of thing. Will bring the big boy down and turn their sights upon the trolls. Lovely. Alright, and not just the trolls, I suppose, as the heavy hitters have arrived in the form of a bunch of Black Orcs on the front line. The units of Honor Seekers, or Doom Seekers and Honor Seekers, whatever, Grimnir's Brotherhood, are all anti-infantry with plenty of armor piercing on them and a ton of damage, so they should be facing off against those Black Orcs quite well, especially when they activate their spin to win and start mincing those orcs, armored or not. Oh, lovely. In the meantime, over on the flanks, the second giant has been brought down, and whatever units foolishly decided to make their way into the tree line are getting run down. The poor boys having a pretty darn bad time against the Dragonback Slayers and the other regular Slayers, and the same thing repeating itself on the other flank as well. The bounce power has shifted in our favor to about 60% at this point. And though there are some sort of individual skirmishes like this one where we're taking a little bit of damage, Haskel's finest here are down by about 50% of their HP and are going to soon start losing models. But they're not just fighting these orc boys, they are also taking lots of hits from enemy missile fire, which we just don't have enough units to run down the enemy missile troops as yet. That will eventually change as the enemy front lines dwindle, as trolls and black orcs alike are brought down under the axes of all the slayers. And those numbers certainly do look like they are dwindling now. And the Black Orcs have failed to make a significant dent in the line of the Doom Seekers by the looks of it, though our Giant Slayers did take a fair bit of damage. Those were the ones, I believe, that brought down that Giant, but then fought the Trolls and Black Orcs at the same time while taking repeated cycle charges from the pump wagons. So I can see why they did take some damage and lose about half their number, but hey, they were looking for some doom, and at least half of them found it. Oh, look at those Honor Seeker, or Doom Seekers. Look at them all chase down those poor orcs. They're having a bad time. The orcs, I mean. Slayers, maybe not so much. Huh, they let one escape. Well, they gotta leave one to tell the tale, I guess, so go figure. Alrighty, and with that, the bounce power shifts to about 70% in our favor, and we're starting to make our way uphill. We even made this battle harder for ourselves by allowing the enemy the high ground position, but again, it does allow us to do better at chasing the enemy down. There are still reinforcements moving on to the field as the Wa is now arriving. We were mostly fighting against non-Wa units after all. But of course, the Wa reinforcements are kind of, man, the AI, you know, I mean, I guess it didn't have much of a choice because there was more than 40 units on screen at once, but yeah, the Wa units should really be sent at the enemy first and not second. Elite units died, and then you try to send in the trash units of the Wa. It should have been the other way around, where you tire the enemy out by sending all the Wa at them, and then send in the elites to clean up. It is orcs, however, and without Warband at the helm, they might not be smart enough to consider such things. Anyway, it looks like the battle is pretty much ours. The poor units of Gobos basically shatter on contact with the Slayers, but I mean, what do you expect here? A few biggins and such might stay in the fight for a few more seconds. We do still have the Ancestral Shield Bearers also summoned to witness the dooms of the Slayers that fall. Which again I do like in the Slayer armies as well. Similar to the doom of Kadri Asgal, who had that fantastic fight against Mr. Kata. I feel like at the very least we should probably name a unit or two after him. Or his army. I mean, it wouldn't feel right, or it doesn't always feel right to sort of convert Slayers that actually found their doom into lords and heroes, because at times it feels like counterintuitive, because they searched for their doom and then they found it and you bring them back. But anyway, with that, the enemy army will shatter and the battle will be ours. We'll do our best to chase him down, and frankly, our best is pretty good in this particular army, because our Slayers move at 52 speed with all the buffs that they have, and that means at least half of the runners will be destroyed. Nice fight, Ungrim. All right, there we go. That was some proper slayering, if I do say so myself. We certainly took a little bit of damage, and oh wow, I don't know how that happened. One of our the Mohawk monsters, one of our units of Grudge Settler Slayers managed to rack up 800 kills and 62,000 damage. Basically twice as many kills and twice as much damage as everybody else, which is pretty darn interesting. Even outdoing most, if not all, of the Doomseekers, at least in terms of kills, if not quite in terms of damage, in terms of both value, etc., etc. But still very, very impressive. Good job. We got 306 Oath Gold. We will need to auto-resolve this, but I'm just going to hope that we can still do so, because I'm disinclined to say no to 306 Oath Gold. So let's take that. And then let's see, we got a Giant Blade that'll hold you over until you get to the Axe of Dargo. You can go here and still auto-resolve. Beautiful. And that should be the end of this little orky faction, which we saved for quite a long time, admittedly, considering they were just on the doorstep of Karaz-a-Karak. A Black Spider destroyed. We will... Actually, that's a question. I wonder how much this is going to be worth to these guys. What's this place called? It is Veil of Webs. 80. Alright, try to... Well, you know what? Maybe we'll just keep it. Alright, fine. Screw it. Don't collect the income. Eventually you'll collect the income, but don't do it right now. Delete the Slayer Shrine, and funnily enough, then build the Karaz Ankor and the Trading Depot here. It is still adjacency to a couple of territories and whatever. It's kind of like allowing the... I mean, yeah. The road doesn't go through them. Old Dwarf Road does, which it also is going to bother me that we don't have it without, you know, killing the Imperials here or the Southern Realmers, but at least it kind of bridges the gap between some territories, so that still works for me. Anyway, where was Mr. Ungrim? There he is. Found him quickly this time around. Brock Ironpick, you're kind of waiting while we continue with the additional troops and stuff of these armies. Hergar Ironwill, you are right. You, first of all, need to be replaced by an actual lord, but for now, keep moving. Get the Explosions army down here to Mount Greyhag, which funnily enough has a Dwarf Rebellion. Wow, what the heck? Dwarf Rebellion has Gyro Bombers, Iron Breakers, pretty solid. Anyway, Hergar Ironwill, keep moving. Want to see those explosives in action. And you're supposed to be led by a Norgrimling, since you have a Norgrimling's Iron Breakers, and we have you, Ulfar Norgrimling, right here. You know what we can do? You can transfer to Crag Whitebeard right now, these guys, and then you can reset yourself. You'll be back in 3 turns, ready to lead the Explosions army. Lovely. Alright, that worked out. Who was after that? I don't even remember the name of who I just moved. Oh, it was Herger Ironwall. Rorik Granite Hand, you are supposed to be where you're supposed to be. Yeah, you guys just stay here, and just keeping the that particular location safe. Morgus Drenger, I believe, is supposed to be replaced by an Overseer eventually. So we'll just leave him where he is. Jamek Tamer, you're waiting for recruitment, and I do believe that's the end turn. Alright, lovely. Alright, skip, including the damaged buildings, because I don't know where they are, and it's too late to find them now. Oh! Wait, I thought I did all the upgrades, Skip. Apparently not. Upgrade the Great Hold here at Rusty Dagger's Hold, and we'll probably need defenses here. This is still in the... this is still in the Badlands, and it is bordering enemies, and yeah, just get some defensive structures going there. All right, that's good enough. All right, now we can end the turn. A new regional power, Urson Revivalists. Well, ain't that lovely? Thanks to us anyway. Let's see, Ironclad Works WA fails. Why does the WA fail? Why is this even a notification? Why do we care if WAs are failing from some Orky factions? Anyway, hey, one of the tech thieves is back. You've been gone a while, haven't you? Go steal some tech. Watch him die. Watch him die immediately. It's happened before. I wouldn't even be surprised, but it looks like he's okay. Hey, Snorri Morgrimel's back. Fantastic. Steel tech success, great for you. And there's that Vanguard deployment for gyro bombers and copters. That'll speed us up nicely. New tech. I believe, let's see. I mean, let's grab mastercrafted weapons just to power up all of our lords and heroes, but then afterwards, ooh, you know what? Just so I don't forget it, let's start with the Way of the Clans, because, you know. Then we'll grab mastercrafted weapons, and then we'll move through the Slayer buffs, because we've started to use a lot of Slayers past the mid-game of the campaign, and... Where are you going? Are you gonna take this rat territory? I don't like that. I don't like that at all. This is our rat territory. I mean, just our territory in general, so... Yeah, we're gonna have to deal with you. But anyway, replace Fire Slayer. You are supposed to be our Fire Slayer army. You can, I believe, move out now. I guess we could take Karak Bufdar with you. It's barely defended. Wait, oh, it's owned by the Ironclaw Works, so we are not currently at war with because there's a lot of stuff going on down here. I mean, we could move the Fire Slayers down into the lowlands. Wait, do we have another engineer available? An innovator? Kind of don't like that. What do you have? You have... Oh, you have Harazi. Oh, right, because it's a fire army. Yeah, we should probably get another Harazi one. Either way, we need to replace the Lord. I'm just wondering whether we should send you down to the lowlands or whether we should keep you up here until we deal with the undead. Alright, maybe we'll deal with the undead first. Go here. Oh, I guess you can reinforce a Domitburg then. Let's do that. Let's go here. We will also then take you and replace it with Snorri Morgrimel, like so. And Snorri, we're gonna rename you to Herrick Grundrak. He's a community cannon lord now, after all, and, well, he deserves an army, even if it's towards the end of the campaign. You're gonna venerate Grimnir to power up those Slayers in your army. Melee attack and missile resistance for everybody, actually, not just Slayer, so that's good. Let's get you a Ritualistic Scarring and Tapestry of those, powering up those Slayers. Distinguished Slayer, Army of One, Slayer of Many, just to get that worthy foe, which is nice. The second tier gives us... Well, enemy ward save reduction, that's not bad either. Let's do that and then get Death Wish, which is the Glorious Death ability, which is pretty darn important. I don't really care about the Demons Be Damned or Demon's Bane thing right now. We are better off going through Inspiring Presence, getting Fire and Fury, and getting the Slayer buffs. Yes, Grimnir's Heirs, like so. And then we'll go through Rally, we'll go through, I guess, Morgrim's Favored. Wait, Dowie Firepower. Okay, we gotta mix a bunch of stuff, don't we? So we have Engineers, Slayers, and Fire stuff, but the Fire stuff is mixed between Dowie Firepower and Morgrim's Favored. So we'll do that and Stand Your Ground and Honored by Grimnir for obvious reasons, and we don't need Blessed by Grugni right now. Anything else? I mean, we could get Root Marcher. Oh, it's gonna bother me that these aren't maxed out. Alright, fine. Go for Demon's Bane for now. The extra tiny bit of movement range probably won't make any difference. Anyway, let's level you guys up since you're on field now. We should get Fell-Handed Warrior at least. I do like Revered Thane, but we'll probably need to train our units up as much as possible. So let's max out training, Tough as Nails, Hero. For the additional little bit of hero experience gain. We are the elite, but we can't take advantage of it as yet. This is only when defending, but, I mean, the auto resolve doesn't like the Slayers, meaning the AI might think this army is weak, so might as well get that as well. We should probably, let's see, harden armor or sharpen weapons. Frankly, the 10 bonus armor won't make too much of a difference to the Slayers, and this is sort of a Slayer ranged army, with them moving into melee afterwards, so I think we'll get more benefit out of sharpened weapons in this particular force. Anyway, Rune of Speed, Rune of Oath and Steel, Rune of Wrath and Ruin. Let's get at least 1 point in Damping, since we are fighting undead, and max out, or get another point in Oath and Steel into Forge Fire, because we want that, a lovely little debuff that they've got. Master Engineer, always the same. Ballistics Calibration, Break Open the Casks, Triangulation, Flash Bomb, Requisition, and Zufbar 42 Pounders. Alright. Not enough for that. And, oh, okay, let's start at the top because it's a new turn. And we're back over 500,000 gold. Beautiful. Okay, how do we want to move you? We could move immediately to One-Eyed Fort and then back to Sharpthorn Forest. Frankly, we don't really care about all these swamps and magical forests, but, I mean, I guess we could raise them. I guess the question is, what's going to settle them after we raise them? That's going to be another issue. Finn, let's take the Putrid Tarpits. I guess, I know that there are some enemies moving around here. I think I saw a full stack from the Greenskins, but I don't know where it is anymore. Also, you go here, go to... Well, yeah, stay in our own territory. In fact, maybe go all the way out here. At the edge of Rusty Dagger's Hold, rather than staying here in Rock Crusher's Last Stand. You can, in the meantime, get the Scrat Mine. Not that we really need it, as our money's just fine. Alright, and then move to Bloody Tusk's encampment afterwards. And I think... wait. Okay, wait, I started doing it out of order again. Anyway, you to One-Eyed Fort, please. One-Eyed Fort, whatever. And then we'll move back to Sharpthorn Forest if needed. Like so. Obviously auto-resolve. I remembered to quick save it this time. Alrighty, and we are okay. Occupy. Powdermaker, enemy killed Natural, Ranger Standard, Blind, River is secured. You can go for High King's Tribute, and we can immediately upgrade you to Tier 5. We can also delete this, and the Toolmaker's Workshop, get the Scrat Mine here, and then upgrade the Makazungor, the Trading Post, and the Mine, as well as get the Tinker's Den. Alright, easy. Who's after Thorgrim? Joseph of Zorn. Now, you still have one little territory remaining to the ogres here. We could keep them alive, and they'll probably get killed by the by these guys. You know what? Yeah, just peace out with them. No need to bother with them. Take their money as well. They will most likely die to malice. No need to move over there as yet. And you are in range of Imric. I would be amused, I admit, by attacking Imric with the fire army, but I'm not so sure about opening up a new front right now, especially since we gotta think about the end of the campaign. I mean, over the last 2 episodes, the engagement and the view numbers have dwindled significantly, and I get it. There's probably a little bit of fatigue going around in terms of this campaign, as we've gotten to the point where we're extremely strong, and okay, Grimly, you're probably gonna have to deal with this guy. We're extremely strong, and you don't want to get to a point where you're conquering just to conquer, so that usually means we got to A, move towards the campaign objectives, and B, probably more importantly, we got to... should fight this in the field, I think it'll be more fun. We got to think about taking the best battles that we can, rather than, you know... rather than any battle. Now, you, what do you have? You have Iron Drakes and... okay, so we'll need Morgrim's Favored for the flame... wait, you don't have flame cannons. You have the... well, you have Honored by Grimnir because you have the Iron Breakers. Bust by Grugni does nothing for us, and you have no artillery pieces. So everything else is fine. Alright, we should get you Grimnir's Heirs just for the 4 Iron Breakers that you have, though. And we could make you more powerful, but frankly, this is Grombrindal, and does he really need it all that much? I'm not so sure that he does. Thunderer is fine, and Axe Lord is fine as well. Yeah, all right, fine. Let's go Grimnir's Heirs. A little bit of more melee attack for those Iron Breakers, which have fairly low melee attack in the first place. You have sharpened weapons maxed out, and we are the elite, so that's the important stuff. Let's attribute Rune of Breaking, Rune of Negation, just to get Strike the Runes and get that cooldown reduction. You have Revered Thane, so it's time, I think, to make you into a slightly stronger fighter. Though I do like the 1 point in hero to get a little bit of extra unit XP, because it's, you know, pretty good. Master Engineer, you guys can buff the Valkyries and Diplomacy, so let's get you Reinforced Rotors. Like so, right? Yes. And then, yeah, this is for Gyro Bombers, and then there's nothing else out of these that we can get you that would help. I guess let's get Requisition maxed out. The gyrocopters do occasionally run out of ammunition after all. And you could do the same thing, Reinforced Rotors. That gives us plus 15% melee and missile damage, though admittedly the missile damage probably doesn't do too much for them. Or at least rarely does so. Anyway, that's a pretty good stack now. Let's attack Mr. Lost Ericsson, and we should be able to fight 2 Norscan stacks, 2 quite elite Norscan stacks, I should say, at once. What do we have here? So we got 5 units of Manticores, we got a Giant, we got Trolls, we got tons and tons of Norscan units. Marauder Champions chosen, more Trolls and Manticore and War Mammoth and all that stuff. Huh, why is the Marauder Chieftain in the middle of this instead of here? And we even got some Chaos Warriors. Good for them. We'll see how well they function here. I very much enjoy Grombrindal's army, and now it's got those Iron Breakers to make it even more powerful. Go. Last to the fight indeed, here we go, and look at Mr. Grombrindal pump those dwarfen legs, 70 speed and strider on him after all, and he's gonna head directly towards that first enemy lord. Still gonna take a little bit to do that, but, well, you know, he's deployed all the way on the other side of the map, and we are still closing the distance fairly quickly. And it looks like he wants no part of fighting Grombrindal. Hey, come back here, dude. Oh, come on. He ran all the way here. I assume Grombrindal can't get tired because he's essentially a ghost, but anyway. Alright, come on. This guy really does not want any part of this. All right, nearly there. And, okay, it looks like rather than fight Grombrindal directly, he wants to charge our battle line. That seems like it's not going to go too much better for him, as he'll instantly take shots from all of those torpedoes and such, losing 99% of his HP just as he reaches our line. Looks like he's gonna get a 1 axe swing. Oh, he almost got an axe swing off, but didn't quite do it. We do a little bit of damage to our own units from our Thunder Barge, but that was about it. That poor Marauder Chieftain. Anyway, here we go. The enemy's got 2 pretty elite stacks, which is pretty darn decent, and we have now the final form of Grombrindal's army, which is pretty darn strong. The Iron Drakes and the Iron Breakers in numbers now, standing together, heavily armored and massively buffed up. Our Iron Breakers with 77 melee defense are nearly matched with 62 melee defense on the Iron Drakes, which is pretty darn solid. Certainly a great sort of tunnel fighting army we've got here, generally speaking, which makes sense since Grombrindal is the son of Grugni and Valea, and Grugni is the god of mining. So, yeah, nice little tunnel fighting force. Also, I didn't notice, wait, let me just see here for a second. Yeah, I knew it. The irregular Iron Drakes, they have rounded hats, whereas the Iron Drakes of the Skolder Guard have flat hats. I actually really like their hats. I usually don't praise the OG Dowie hats compared to the Chaos Dwarfen hats, but I don't know, it makes them look a lot more menacing than the rounded hats do. I like it. I like it a lot. Anyway, how are we doing in the meantime? Looks like the enemy army has arrived, and, well, our units of gyrocopters are deployed out there. And with those Seeking missiles that they've got, or Seeking torpedoes that they've got, they're going to start knocking those manticores out of the sky. Certainly don't want the manticores reaching our lines and annoying our vast amounts of Iron Drakes, after all. We could also kill all the mammoths and the enemy lord, but we're not going to do that. I'd like them to actually try to reach our line. Manticores, however, are very much fair game. And there we go. Oh, those poor manticores. What are we up to? 769. Nice missile strength on the Valkyries here, and on the Grudge Settler gyrocopters in general. They're pretty good. Basically, it takes 2 volleys from both units to kill off a manticore, which is pretty darn quick. Down it goes. Ooh, and the final blow delivered by the brimstone gun of one of our engineers. Fantastic. It got to be a somewhat demoralizing sight for the Norscan armies below to see their manticores knocked out of the sky by those torpedoes, though. Gotta admit. There's one volley, taking it down to about 45% HP, and there's the second volley, bringing it down. Fantastic. Alrighty, is that all the manticores, or is there one more? Ah, looks like there's one more over on this side. Alright, we're just going to reposition ourselves and go after that other manticore, but the rest of the fight we'll leave to our proper army. And here we go. We got more torps where that came from, and oh wow, this poor mammoth went down so dang quick. What are we at here? 745 missile strength on the short fuses, but just generally on the Iron Drakes. Whoa, whoa, whoa. These guys have 1.1k. Huh, why do these guys have more? They have the same veterans, see? What are they missing? Ah, these guys have Dowie Engineering. They have the Dwarf Engineers close by. Oh, what I should have done is move these guys just slightly closer to the Dwarf Engineers. But anyway, while in slow-mo, the Torps have already brought down the Mammoth and the Marauder Chieftain. I guess it really didn't matter whether we brought them down in the, with the other units. It's making me think that due to the considerable increase that the reload increase offers for all those range units from the Dwarf Engineers, we should probably have at least one unit of Dwarf Engineers in pretty much every ranged army. Except maybe Thorax, because, you know, the grumbling. Although, once again, Thorax is one of those armies that really warrants some engineers. Anyway, the enemy army is having an extraordinarily bad day. They are about halfway to our line and have only just managed to reach the range of the flame units, having already lost, you know, I don't know, half of their number just to the torpedoes alone, and before the Scolder Guard and the other Iron Drakes even began to fire. Does look like some of the doggos and some of the Marauder horses did manage to get around us and into the fight against some of the Iron Breakers, though getting closer to the Iron Drakes really doesn't help you all that much. Or the Iron Breakers, for that matter. Alrighty, and as soon as you back off, some blasting charges. Oh, that was awesome. The Mammoth went down just as the blasting charges started hitting it. Of course, it probably took most of the damage from the torpedoes, but yeah. Iron Drakes are definitely the most entertaining unit in the Dwarf roster. Yeah, you gotta love them. They're just so fun to use. They're definitely the unit that I have to stop myself from overusing. I mean, the gyrocopters as well, but it's a different reason. It's mostly because the AI is kind of terrible at dealing with air-heavy armies, and that's why you don't want to overuse the gyrocopters. Anyway, it looks like the trolls and the giant that tried to flank us got brought down similarly to the rest, and the balance of power shifts to 100% in our favor, the enemy having stood no chance at breaching the ultra-heavily armored line, rather, of Grombrindal's Iron Drakes and Iron Breakers. Very nice. Thunderbarge did, let's see, 68 damage, 12,000 damage dealt, or 68 kills, 12,000 damage dealt. Not all that much, but it wasn't needed. As is sort of the command unit hovering in the center of the army. Did I give it a Lichbone Pennant? I did. I wonder if We should put a rune of, or a banner of lost holds, rather, on the dwarf engineer. Something that's hovering, something that's in the center of the battle line, and that's the dwarf engineers here, because they provide that Dowie engineering trait, which is what I was talking about. And that was so significantly pumping up the damage of the Iron Drakes. And yeah, that's a pretty big difference. We can see that these guys are down to only 400 missile strength from 1.1k. So the rune of reloading, or whatever rune Gromby has, yeah, it is rune of reloading. The plus 25 reload skill, in addition to the plus 20 reload skill from the engineers, is just such a huge increase to their damage. Pretty interesting. It kind of warrants sort of moving into the fight as fast as you can, so that you have a longer time with the runes, since it starts when the battle starts, and then you have 300 seconds in order to use it. But anyway, absolutely obliterated. Alright, there we go. I kept trying to run Gromby at big ol' enemies, or whatever ones that we could get to anyway, and fortunately they just kept melting away faster than he could catch up to them, and he's pretty darn fast, so certainly not an indictment of our forces or his speed. But anyway, lovely battle, absolute monstrous amount of damage from all of the Iron Drakes, and a little bit from the Iron Breakers, including the Grand Sappers here, but frankly, they weren't really needed here. We are going to auto-resolve this. I guess we'll take the execute and loot. And this faction, I think, is not dead because they have one settlement remaining, but they're pretty much done for anyway. They did annoy us to some degree after we had confederated Grombrindal, but now is not that time. And Executioner's Axe? Sure, why not? Not a bad find either. Anyway, who's after these guys? Joseph of Zorn, you're fine for now. Grimly, Braun Hammerfist does not need to move. Finark Andraskelson, you were going to take those putrid tar pits. In fact, I had already talked about doing so, but then we... well, I got distracted by other stuff. You know what I got distracted by doing? The stuff in order. This is the best distraction, or the appropriate one. We could auto-resolve this. It's not much of a garrison, admittedly. You know what? Maybe besiege them. Give them a chance. If there's a full stack nearby, maybe it'll move in to try to attack you and give you a better battle. Not like you're in a hurry to grab those tar pits. What else do we have here? Thorek, yes. So you are looking to hunt down Kairos, who is still sitting in Dolganyar Forest, and it looks like Archaon's 2 armies have moved down here. Yeah, our friends are in trouble. Let's move through the city of Splinters here, and what do we have here? An actual army. And the city of Splinters is well defended by the looks of it. All right, I think that means we can allow for a for this to be an actual fight. Now, is this a walled settlement? An outside Wood Elf, Ogre, or Norscan homeland? So is this an unwalled settlement? Is it a minor settlement? I see no siege equipment. Huh. If it's a field battle, I'd love to fight it right now. Well, let's find out. I guess if it's a field battle, then we're fighting it. Thane, let's level you up. Let's level everybody up before we go. You were moving towards Indomitable, though at the same time, if we get attacked, we get a +6 armor-piercing weapon damage on all of our units, which is pretty darn solid. Alright, you're the forbearing one. Just go through Inherited Arms, because I haven't decided whether we're going to keep you in this army. We still need another engineer in here as well. You can grab We Are the Elite, though, and grab Rune of Hearth and Home. You know what? Actually, Wardbreaker here might be the better option. As in for this particular battle. Maybe I should have taken Damping as well to reduce the magics of the enemies. Certainly another decent option. And let's go for Damping for you. Let's max out Rune of Oath and Steel, and then into Forge Fire at least. It would be nice to get that Wardbreaker as well. You have Damping already and Hardened Armor. Let's get you another Wardbreaker. As a little missile resistance as possible. I don't know how much missile resistance these guys had, but, well, it's in provinces or in regions, so they probably have very little now. You already have the Grudge Throwers buffed up. We are not getting Zufbar 42 Pounders, but we can get We Are the Elite. Yes, alright, that's fine. And then lastly, the other Thane. You, sir, can get Revered Thane for those glittering scales, and let's get your Rune of Grimnir just so something doesn't bowl you over. Alright, I'm going to hope that this is a field battle, because if it is, it should be a pretty fun one. We got tons of blue horrors, exalted pink horrors, lots and lots of spawn. Ooh, lots of flamer units as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... 6, 7, 8 units of flamers when a single volley can obliterate a unit of quarrelers. It's gonna be a dangerous one, and let's have fun.
Hold the pass, brothers, and give no quarter. To arms, fellow Dowie! Let's claim one more victory for the old way.
Alrighty, here we go. Not a bad speech there, Thoric. Let's claim one more victory for the old ways. Sounds good to me. Though as to whether we can pull it off, well, I guess it remains to be seen. The first of the enemy units is just about done for, an Exalted Flamer of Tzeentch, and yeah, it's the Flamers that are absolutely going to be very annoying in this particular battle. We shouldn't have as much trouble, perhaps, as the direct fire army did, because we can actually arc our shots. Still, I would prefer this to be a field battle just because they're more fun than these minor settlement fights. But oh well, and ooh, hello, what do we have here? A Lord of Change leading a burning chariot and some Changebringers into the fight. Gotta be careful, as even a couple blasts from those guys could decimate our line and immediately switch fire to them with all of our Grudge Throwers and all of our Quarrelers, and try to bring them down before they get too many shots off. Looks like the burning chariot will at least target Thoric, which does make sense, since the burning chariot, I believe, is anti-large, whereas the Changebringers are anti-infantry. But it does look like we managed to bring most of them down. Next is the Lord of Change, who we leave to last, but isn't a huge issue for us. At least I don't think so. Nope. We slow it down with that nice Master Rune of Slowness, and that prevents it from doing anything. Anyway, with those aerial units knocked out, there are still, by the looks of it, there's still at least one cockatrice flying around. But that should enable us to start moving forward. Alright, Grudge Throwers working together on the unit of Flamers here, and another one is out. And we need to try to knock out as many of those Flamers as possible before we head into the enemy settlement. They're such devastating units if you let them work, so we shouldn't. Alrighty, a unit of Chaos Spawn getting hosed down by missile fire as well. They do have 20% missile resistance, or physical resistance rather, but with low armor. And, funnily enough, low model HP, as that's kind of the nature of the spawn of Tzeentch. Should be able to take him out reasonably quick. Anyway, I'm just going to speed this up a little bit, because it's probably not the most interesting watching the enemies get pin-cushioned from a distance where the enemy cannot fight back. Although, maybe a few more shots of the Grudge Throwers working on those pink and blue horrors. There we go, and a few of the Quarrelers are firing at them as well. Alrighty, and there's that cockatrice flying around. Is it annoyed enough to start moving towards us, or is it just going to... No, it looks like it's going to back off. Too late, I think, as it's going to take a massive amount of damage from those Quarrelers, and it might be a little bit too slow. Well, actually, 90 speed's fairly quick. But too slow to avoid the quarrels, I guess. As it will break and then get brought down. And... wait, weren't you supposed to turn into stone? Oh, maybe that'll... yeah, it'll turn to stone when it falls to the ground. There it is. Alrighty, how we doing otherwise? Bounce power still remains in the enemy's favor. The main issue is that we are below half of our ammunition on our Quarrelers, and right around half, maybe 55% on those Grudge Throwers. Gonna speed it up a little bit more as we sort of reposition ourselves. Gotta be careful about taking too much damage from the enemy missiles, as while we move into the enemy settlement, they will be able to fire back upon us. And they can certainly dish out the damage. Look at that. One volley takes about 10 to 15%, 15% of the HP from the Quarrelers with great weapons. No shields among them after all. Surprising that these guys are doing as much damage as they are with a single unit. I guess it's armor. Oh, it's an exalted pink horror unit. Okay, that makes sense. It looks like between the bonus versus infantry and the fact that they're armor piercing and explosive damage, they are looking to do pretty solid damage to the Quarrelers. And frankly, the Quarrelers seem to be having a little bit of a tough time firing back. And me having gotten a slightly better position. But yeah, they're getting through tons of armor with those blasts of theirs. Good for them. Alright, well, we're going to have to run the gauntlet here as we take damage, and it might actually be better that we move while allowing the grudge throwers to do the work, rather than the Quarrelers, who, by the looks of it, couldn't quite arc their shots over the lip of this crater here, and thus we're taking damage without giving too much back. Oh well, not a big deal. The grudge throwers still had the ammunition to take care of at least this unit of exalted pink horse. Huh, I don't know they could lose a head like that. That was neat. I wonder why they didn't make it so that pink horrors don't split into blue horrors when they die. Because you can do the... if anything, I'm surprised that SFO didn't do that, because you can... I mean, there's abilities that, like, kill your unit and then, like, quote-unquote, turn them into a spawn, you know, make your unit die, disappear, and then replace it with a unit of spawn. Can't you just do the exact same thing with pink horrors, in that if it dies, it becomes a blue horror unit? Odd. That's what they're supposed to do. Maybe you shouldn't have too many of those. And I guess the pink horror unit should probably still count as dead for the purpose of your army. And in SFO, blue horrors have twice as many models as pink horrors do, and they probably have the same thing in vanilla, but, yeah. I don't know. Well, either way. It looks like we got a single volley from one of the enemy flamers hit the iron breakers for like 25% of their HP, which ain't so great. Oh, it's gonna get clipped again while Thorek attempts to move forward. Gonna try to rush Thorek towards one of the enemy flamers, but it's probably not going to happen because the flamers move at 60 speed, which is solid enough. Fast Thorgrim could obviously run them down, but Thorek is not so fast. Bit of a shame that we can't give Thorek the same rune, the Go Faster rune. It's too bad we only have the one copy of it. And because it would be nice to have Fast Thorek join Fast Thorgrim, but what can you do? Speaking of Thorek, he's going to get charged by a pile of Centaurs with those great weapons of theirs. 52 weapon strength and armor piercing, pretty decent. They are still going to have a difficult time bringing Thorek down. The rest of our army is still repositioning itself. Is that crackling sound from the Anvil of Doom, or is it from something else? Not so sure. And ooh, another volley hits the iron breakers, and that's an exalted flamer because we can see the little mini vortexes caused by it. Trying to fire back upon it with some of our Quarrelers, though at this point a lot of our Quarrelers are down to like 10% of their ammunition. Oh well, a couple more blasting charges will hit the Centaurs, and we've started to move our units of just essentially single entities, the 3 runesmiths and 2 thanes that are with Thorek. Maybe echoing a little bit the sort of Lord and Hero team that Thorgrim has been running around with. Frankly, the blasting charges aren't going to do probably too much in the way of damage to the Centaurs, but every hit from any one of our single entities should do decent. Though it is admittedly taking a fairly long time to work our way through them, considering they have relatively low melee defense and no armor once debuffed. Alright, down goes the last one on those. Centaurs are going to book it on out of there. We're going to reposition ourselves. Maybe speed this up a little bit. Get a little bit of that range fire going on that exalted flamer. And maybe even chuck a few blasting charges their way. Actually, out of curiosity, what do we have in terms of none? Okay, I wanted to see whether the exalted flamers would have any kind of fire resistance, but apparently not at all. Oh well, and it looks like together, or just after those Centaurs, we've got a regular Zangors who have joined the fray as well. Fair enough. Alright, a little bit of action for our Thane. We got a little bit of... what the heck is that? Rhythm of Immortality. Oh, that's going to take a while to bring these guys down. They are now immortal for 30 seconds, so probably pointless to watch them. Let's see if we can do a little bit of damage to that Exalted Flamer. I'm getting hit by those blasting charges now. A lot of them are going to go wide, but we really need this thing dead, A, and B, the blasting charges will at least rocket back and forth, as in they will stagger it, and staggering it prevents it from firing off those flames, which is worth it just by itself. Alright, down to about 40% of its ammunition, and how's that Rhythm of Immortality? 5 more wait. No, it's up, I guess. Yes, it's up now. And as soon as it goes up, its Angors go down. Slaneshi giggle. Anyway, ooh, and it looks like we do get a nice blast from the Exalted Flamer. Ah, followed up by a second Exalted Flamer, and a few blasts from those Exalted Pink Horrors of Tzeentch as well. Damn. Lots and lots of flamers in this army, which does make sense. It is a stack defending plus the tier 5 elite garrison. But damn those flamers, the poor Iron Breakers are nearly done for in terms of their HP. They've lost half of their number and 3/4 of their HP at this point. We're basically out of ammunition, and yeah, I just gotta remember to get that second engineer in this army as fast as we can, because we run out of ammunition a little bit too quick. There's still a lot of enemy units in this army, and we can't really move our infantry lines forward yet, at least until we take out those flamers. Mostly because I just don't want to re-recruit units here if they die, which is a distinct possibility because they can't catch them. Alright, well, Thorek, it's all you, man. Actually, not such a bad thing, because Thorek doesn't get to shine quite as much when the ranged aspects of his army kill off most of the enemies, so sort of taking this location on his Anvil of Doom and melee is a nice change of pace for him. And I guess all of his single entity heroes as well. And frankly, those flamers firing those vortexes at Thorek will not do a crazy amount of damage to him, but clipping their own units will probably knock out a fair few of them. Ooh, here comes another blob of enemies. Pink Horrors and some Chaos Spawn alike. And all the single entities will meet them in combat once more. And now those flamers, they're, let's see. They're really starting to burninate those Exalted Pink Horrors, eh? Good for them. From our perspective, anyway. Alright, nice bonk from Thorek, but the single bonk will not bring the Chaos Spawn down. A second bonk will not bring it down, so we're going to get a little bit of help in the form of a summon of our Ancestral Shield Bearers. Immediately, as soon as it gets summoned, they get a Searing Doom and dropped upon them. And I guess we're too far away from the enemy sorcerers. A second Searing Doom has hit the Shield Bearers, as, yeah, these guys are just staying all the way back here and casting. And this it seems far enough away from all the from the explosion that the Anvil of Doom causes if you're casting near it, which is not working so well for us. And funnily enough, we have a lot of miscast bonuses in this particular army, but it seems that neither of the enemy heroes miscast. Maybe it was a waste to go for the miscast trait then. And is that a third Searing Doom? Man, these guys really don't like those Ancestral Shield Bearers, as they're down to about 15% of their HP already. Well, there goes that idea, but I suppose with all the magical damage available to Tzeentch, it might make sense that the Ancestral Shield Bearers don't stick around for all that long. Either way, at least they're taking hits, whether it be from the magics of the enemy or from the magical sort of missile fire from the enemy. Pink Horrors are done, Chaos Spawn are done, and we wade into the pile of Blue Horrors now. Alright, and we still have at least a couple of these Shield Bearers fighting. Too bad we can't give them an Iron Warden's Tankard or the Healing Potion or something like that. Or just Liquid Fortification. Give them some Ghost Beer. And if it isn't some Chaos Spawn moving down to join the fray again. How are we doing in terms of HP? Thorax lost about 25% as the biggest target, and then the others have lost about 20-ish% of their HP as well. Really not so bad. You have, what, 5, 6 lords and heroes here. And it's getting the last of our arrows out. Trying to save at least a few of the arrows for the enemy exalted flamer. There's another regular flamer unit out there as well. Ugh. If it weren't for the flamers, at this point I would have sent our ammunitionless quarrelers into the melee. But with the flamers there, it's kind of just not worth it. Alright, and Thorak gonna glow with the activation of Clad Brakak as he starts getting that lightning down upon the enemy, as well as a Rune of Wrath and Ruin. Probably not the most effective thing against the piles of Chaos Spawn, I'll admit. But we gotta damage them somehow, and it is taking a while to break through them. Alright, there goes another Rune of Wrath and Ruin. Fortunately, the cooldowns on our runesmiths in this particular army are fairly short, so we can do a fair bit of rune spam. Still not going to be as effective as regular magic, but, well, it's better than nothing. Alrighty, and yes, please help us out, Flamers. Burninate a few of your allies. Anyway, bounce power is finally in our favor, if only by 5% at this point. Another unit of Chaos Spawn cleared out, and I guess the bounce power continues balancing as it is because our Grudge Thrower is now out of ammunition with the exception of one unit that's been told to stop firing in case we need it. And let's see, out of ammunition on 3, 4, 5... 5 out of 7 of the Quarrelers, and our Grudge, or our Iron Breakers can't fight either. Thorak's gonna try to give chase to the Exalted Flamer, but it's just gonna back off via having twice as much speed as him, and there's no point in chasing. Alright, fine. If that's the case, we're just going to head directly towards whatever other enemy units remain. I'm gonna get that Grudge Thrower firing again, specifically on the pink horrors, while we rush the regular flamers, who appear to have gotten slowed down. That monstrous impact gonna help us by keeping them trapped in place, and allowing our single entities to close and start dealing with them. Alrighty, it was a pretty important unit to knock out, and as soon as we get these guys out and that last Exalted Flamer, then we can send our melee Quarrelers in. Looks like the enemy Lord has joined the fray as well, though he's not the most critical target here. We'll get a few bonks on him as well. Or a few axe hits, whatever. Not picky here. And yes, it is absolutely taking a fair bit of time to work our way through these guys, but it was also very much expected. At least as soon as we ran out of ammo. Which ain't good on a almost all-ranged army. And that Exalted Flamer is rushing downwards. We did use a Master Rune of Slowness upon it to get the speed down to 30. Then we're going to activate the Master Rune of Speed on our Thanes to bring them up to 42 speed, which should finally allow one of the Thanes, or both of the Thanes, to reach the frickin' Exalted Flamer. Get this thing the heck out of here. Alrighty, and it's still trying to run away and back up, but it looks like it's starting to melt away, which means that the enemy army is done. The enemy Chaos Lord, the Sorcerer of Tzeentch, is shattered, and only the Demonic and the Unbreakable remain. Demonic being the Pink Horrors, and the Unbreakable being the Chaos Spawn. Which aren't demons, they're just really gross. Alrighty, and we're just going to work our way through these guys in the same way that we did the rest of the units. Gonna get another Rune of Wrath and Ruin coming down. Our Quarrelers perhaps joining the battle a teensy bit late, but, well, what can you do? On the bright side, at least they weren't taking hits from all of those Searing Dunes. Actually, out of curiosity, what are the stats on our Quarrelers here? Let's see, 43, 45. They're okay. Still vastly inferior in melee to a unit like Bugman's Rangers, though their armor is up there. I think the Bugmans are at 80 or 90 armor. I think 70 base, and then with buffs they get a little bit more. Those guys are more heavily armored, but they don't seem to hit hard enough with melee attack and defense. Alrighty, there we go. With that, the last of the Chaos spawn goes down. There is still a unit of pink cores running around. For surprisingly, this cultist hadn't shattered yet. I guess it's waiting for us to move in. Alright, and here come the Quarrelers, slowly but surely moving in. Oh, look at him pump those dwarven legs. And there we go. And get those great axes hewing. And I mean, 40... Oh, there we go with the runes, the Master Rune of Speed and the Rune of Oath and Steel. Their stats are massively increased. 170 armor, 80 melee attack, 46 melee defense. And like this, they can certainly cut through the enemies. Again, if it wasn't for those darn flamers, we would have dealt with these guys a little bit faster by sending all of our units into melee. Or if it had been a field battle, then the enemy would have been able to charge our units and force them into a melee, which would have been different anyway. Anyway, with that, I believe the last of the enemy units are done for. Only a single iridescent horror remains on the field, gets punted, and get good airtime by Thorek. Considering he's got half the speed of Thorgrim, that's pretty good. I remember to give him a speed rune as well. Not the master speed rune, the significantly slower one, but better than nothing. Alrighty, and just a couple more hits and the iridescent horror will fall, and with that, the battle will be ours. Oh, the game actually let us see the death animation, or at least half of the death animation of this. Oh, I guess it's because some of the units were still running. Heroic victory for Thorek, and the hunt for Kairos himself continues. Alright, there we go. We really desperately need another engineer in this particular, master engineer in this particular army. The lack of ammunition means that the grudge throwers and the quarrelers go silent way too early, and then when facing off against things like Tzeentch with those darn flamers, if you can't knock him out at range, they're just gonna back off, as the dwarfs are far too slow to deal with them otherwise. And while Thorek would normally have some bolt throwers, we didn't do that in this campaign, so he has to rely on the quarrelers to take him out. Certainly something to consider as we move forward. Anyway, we'll occupy the place. We don't intend on keeping it. Frankly, we might just abandon these rather than just giving them all to these guys, because similar to the Imperials, they're going to have the problem of the low control, and, well, the climate isn't actually too bad for them. It's only a -2, so it's a yellow territory for them. But they're not doing too great in terms of their control in any of their other provinces for whatever reason. I don't know how the AI is failing that aspect of it. It's not like they've got corruption there, but, well, that's the AI for you. Sometimes, and especially when that AI is your ally, they just don't do too good. Anyway, good job, Thorek. The sort of taking of a page out of Thorgrim's book worked out reasonably well in terms of counteracting the relative annoyances of those enemies. Anyway, Gautry, hold fast. Brugard doesn't need to move. Malachi, you're moving again. Is Azag around? Where did Azag go? Alright, well, I guess we'll try to go to Dushika. Azag, could you be here? I see Morgulus. I see no Azag. Huh, maybe he was defeated by the Great Orthodoxy. They were fighting. It's certainly a distinct possibility. Valiant defeat. Alright, fine. We'll give these guys the opportunity to sally out. Frankly, I think they'll be too afraid to, but I'm certainly willing to fight them in the field if they do, because there they will have more chance to actually, or a greater chance to actually defeat Malachi's army, which they obviously do not have whatsoever if they face off against him in a settlement battle. And just due to the fact that they don't have the you're gonna try to capture Aberheim yourselves? You know what? Let them capture Aberheim. Move in to reinforce against it, and then these guys will hopefully attack it. We'll see, I guess. What was I saying? Oh, right, the gyrocopters, as we saw, they just obliterate them, so they would have no chance if that was the case, so give them a chance. Anyway, we are currently not collecting the income here, which is fine. Callan Helldauer has moved towards Aberheim. Gonna knock out Vlad for good so that he's not bothering our Imperial friends, since we need their equipment to some degree. Amador Red Axe. What do we have at Lichburg? Basically nothing. I do wonder whether we can just auto-resolve that as well. Old as Hell Hein. I'd like you to move out here so you can swap units together. Yeah, heroic victory. Hardly surprising. I guess he could only build basic stuff anyway. Gautry Holdfast. You have been not holding fast for a while. It's strange to see. And then you can... I guess you can't travel quite as far as we'd like. If you go into March stance, you can travel a similar degree, I guess. So, no real difference. Alright, just go here. Alright, you guys can auto-resolve this for obvious reasons. I just gotta double check whether the Slayers... Wait, did we have any non-pirate Slayers in this army? Any melee Slayers? As in pure melee Slayers? We did! We do, and these guys will die if we try that, alright? Gautry, hold fast. Go hold fast somewhere. Yeah, that's what happens when you don't hold fast. Oh, it'll kill off the miners with blasting shares. Okay, that's a waste of time. I'll just do the little battle between the episodes, I think. And in fact, I think there isn't too much in the way of important moves to make remaining now, so I think this is probably where I'm going to call this episode. And, Vlad is even running away. Well, okay, that does make sense, because his army is basically non-existent. And we're not going to chase him down with you. And Crag Whitebeard, you're supposed to get these guys to the Armored Slayer army, but more or less that's moving southward. And you can mix and match some of the units with these guys. They're all moving together for a reason, because you're gonna go deliver some stuff. Anyway, as I was saying, I'll do this weird little battle between the episodes. Essen, I guess we could take. It's probably gonna hurt our Frostrooms again, but it's not like Vlad really has anything to... Oh! Do we even want it? You know what? Occupied, but then raise it, I think. That's what we'll do here, because I'm not so sure that with Droika occupying some of these territories that we want to bother with it, and I was going to still send Azrael 2 Silver Pinnacle, and yeah, it's going to take like 80% of the HP of one of our Frostrooms. Oh, auto-resolve. Why must you hurt the Frostrooms so? It is not nice. Anyway, we'll just, you know what, just collect the income because we're going to abandon the territory. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm going to call the episode here. Next time we will probably, well, I was about to say wipe out the Bloody Hands, but they actually have a fair bit of territory, so that's probably not going to happen, but definitely wipe out the Exiles of Neheep. We are just about ready to get the first fights in with the Explosion army, and Vlad is most definitely on the way out. Grimly will probably have to deal with that little army that we saw at sea somewhere, so he'll deal with them, and then as soon as we wipe out the heck? Oh, we're coming up against Kolak. Okay, I would really... I might even just send Grimly back here to hold ground here, because I wanted to send Gromby to take out Hellpit. And then if we're bordering with more factions that are an enemy to us, we're just going to have to deal with them. Maybe I'll just build another army to deal with those, because if... yeah, I think Grimly would take way too long to travel over there at this point. Our empire has grown pretty darn big after all. In fact, we're actually very close to a domination victory as well. Which certainly indicates that we've taken quite a bit of territory. Anyway, more Dowie to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, as they will determine how long this campaign continues to run for. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.